NECA's kind of going hard with their Gremlins revitalized line, with everything getting a bit of an ultimate treatment these days. And today we're taking a look at the newest entry in that line. We have got the Ultimate Gremlin. So this is what I've been looking forward to since I got a hold of Ultimate Gizmo. It's kind of a no-brainer. I just had to take a look. So we've got this guy here in standard Ultimate packaging. So you've got a shot of like the Gremlins poster on the front here, and then the side is the Gremlins logo, and then the back has a shot from the movie, but also has a bunch of shots to recreate shots from the movie using the figure. And then you can pop this guy open, and you've got a shot of our Gremlin on the inside flap, and then you've got a nice big window that displays the Gremlin along with the huge array of fantastic accessories this guy has. So I'm really excited to take a look at this one. So let's do it. Let's pull him out and take a look. And here he is out of the package, our Ultimate Gremlin figure. And I gotta say right off the bat, before we even get into it, this figure is absolutely wild. I love just about everything about this guy. So I'm going to gush over this one a little bit, and if I've convinced you after watching this review to grab one for yourself, of course head on over to Big Bad Toy Store. I'll put a link down below, and I'd be surprised if you didn't want one if you're a big Gremlins fan, because this guy is just a lot of fun, and that's really all it comes down to with this guy. He's a lot of fun. He does have a bit of an issue, we'll talk about it, with articulation, but it's not one you can't overcome. So let's go ahead and jump right into articulation, see what he can do, and then we'll get to all the other fun stuff. So we're going to start at the head as usual, and you can stick that head up pretty far. He doesn't go down too far, but the Gremlin's head are kind of hunched down to begin with, so he's always kind of looking down, even at like eye level. The neck on its own does rotate a little bit, and then of course the head does rotate as well. Arms go out, they rotate. You've got a single jointed elbow, but it's at least 90. And then you've got a hinge and rotation at the wrists. You've got a mid-torso cut. It's not really the pecs. It's not the waist either. It's kind of in between. Rotate a little bit, bobble side to side, and then forward and backward. It helps him to achieve that kind of Gremlin's hunch pretty well. Legs kick forward, they kick back, but only slightly. They go outwards a little bit, and then you can twist them in that joint as well. He's got kind of odd legs, so we'll talk about that. Knees go backwards, and then you can rotate in there as well. You've got rotation down here, and then you've got another hinge that actually kicks forward. And then you've got rotating and slightly hinged. It almost feels like a small ball down there at the ankles. There's not tons of movement down at the ankles just because it's so tight, but it does move and it gets him pretty well. Now, when I say that he does have a slight problem with articulation, it's not in the sense that he's under-articulated. If anything, he's got more than I expected. The problem is that every single joint on this particular figure was locked solid. And I know I'm not the only one who's had this problem. Be forewarned, do not take this guy out of the box and just start crunching joints around. Hit him with some hot water, hit him with a hairdryer, do something, just make sure, because you could snap a peg, you could snap a joint. Just be careful. He is probably the worst example I've seen in a while of the quote-unquote NECA joints, where they're just really hard to move. Maybe one or two weren't exactly locked all the way down, but I almost broke one of the wrists off, and I almost broke a leg off even after hitting him with some heat. And I should mention, because I've obviously forgotten it, the most important joint, he's got a hinge jaw, because there's so much stuff in there. Tons and tons of gory tongue, teeth action in there. So he does have a hinge jaw. That was probably the one that wasn't an issue, but a lot of the joints were just really tight. So be careful. I've heard of other folks already having the problem, so you have been warned. Otherwise, he is pretty well articulated, more so than I expected. Now, as far as the look on this guy, I mean, well, just look for yourself. He is stunning, to say the least. As stunning as a Gremlin can be. The sculpt on this guy is just through the roof. Paint is fantastic. I have zero issues to discuss in terms of QC or anything I don't like. I love everything about this figure. I think he looks the part. You've got those long, lanky arms, the stocky, short body with those short legs, tons of paintwork all over him, lots of dry brushing down the scales on the legs. You've got the stripes that run down the shoulders, down the arms, the big patch of kind of cream on his chest with the kind of burst pattern up there. And then you've got more paint on the back. You've even got the Gremlin sort of pseudo tail thing. Did you know that Gremlins actually had that back there? You don't see it all that often that I remember. And and it's got tons and tons of paint on there as well. More of that patchwork cream pattern on the back. There's tons of paint up on the head. You've got the stripe that runs down, the kind of spines that run down the top of this one's head. A lot of patterning on the ears, just line work all over the head. And then, of course, the face is just fantastic. There's nothing to complain about here. The eyes are evil and nasty looking, tons of spikes and scales, and all kinds of gnarly texture all over the face, all over the body. Of course, the mouth, like I mentioned, I don't know how I almost forgot, does open. You've got a mouthful of teeth. You've got a tongue, a fully painted mouth. Even the roof, there's sculpt work in the roof of the mouth. You can see the back of the throat. There's just tons of detail everywhere. And then, of course, you've got those humongous ears, which just look fantastic. So this guy absolutely looks the part. He really does embody what I think of when I think of a gremlin. This guy comes about as close to perfect as can be, I think. So yeah, if you were even remotely interested in this figure, after seeing him in person, you will no doubt absolutely not regret your purchase. And to give an idea of scale really quickly, here is our Gremlin next to our Ultimate Gizmo. So you can see Gizmo comes up to about his elbow-ish, roughly, which makes sense. It's close enough. And then you've got him next to a more standard style Marvel Legends. This is the recent Genus Fell that's still sporting the Terminator's grenade launcher from that review. So you've got him next to a more normal 6-inch-ish figure alongside our Gizmo as well. So he definitely is in scale more so with Gizmo than anything else. He's definitely not in scale with Marvel Legends by any means, unless you want to have an oversized Gremlin in your display. Now, as far as accessories goes, this guy is fully loaded. There's nothing else you can say about this. This figure has some of the best accessories I have seen in a figure in so long. And it's all very Gremlins-esque too, so it works so well. You've got a couple things that fit in specific hands, stuff that doesn't go in hands at all. And then you've just got some fantastic accessories that you could probably use with other lines too. So we've got the Doodah bar, which is obviously a Baby Ruth, and we've got some Brad Bites, which are obviously supposed to be Skittles. These are both hard plastic pieces. They can fit in his right hand, so that's a more gripping style hand. You have got the popcorn bags. So these come flattened and you just have to puff them out. And these go over his ears, and you'll see all this stuff done up and used this way at the end of the video. So these are pretty great. They're very scene specific. You've got 3D glasses here, which look like they could actually be 3D glasses. They have blue and red film in there. And then you have got a hand of cards here with some great tampo work on the back. Great classic card artwork on there. And then we have got two of my favorite accessories. These go in his left hand just because of what they are, and you can see based on that hand how they work. So we got a beer stein, which is full of frothy beer. Looks fantastic. It's a little big if you want to use it with other figures, so it'll work better with like NECA style figures. It doesn't look all that great with the Marvel Legends if you were wanting to use that, but you could probably fudge it and make it work with maybe a Build-A-Figure or something. And then we have got a cola cup, which this thing just looks stellar. You can see on the inside there's actually plastic in there to make it look like ice cubes with some paint on it as well. And of course it looks like it's full of cola with a straw sticking out. And then the favorite accessory for myself and probably most others, we've got the cigarette, which is honestly a really weird accessory to see in a toy in general. Obviously this is for the adult collector, but it's really odd to actually get one. He can't hold it, and he's not really supposed to. You could probably lean it in his hand somewhat decently, but it's meant to go in his mouth. And you can see he's actually smoked it. There's some ashes hanging off the end, and it just looks like a regular cigarette. But this is easily my favorite accessory. But he does come with just a stellar spread of stuff here, stuff that you can use with other lines, other figures, but of course it all works incredibly well within the confines of Gremlins. So at the end of the day, this figure is truly fantastic. There's really no other way to describe it. It has a stellar sculpt and paint job. The overall look of this figure is just out of this world. NECA has done a fantastic job with this guy. The accessories, the accessories alone are worth the price of admission. I can see a lot of people buying this guy just because he comes with all kinds of stuff. He comes with a beer stein. He comes with a cigarette. There's just so much stuff you'll never see in another package here. NECA has really done a great job with the whole thing. The only thing, again, that I need to warn you about is to make sure you heat this guy up. He definitely needs to be heated up before you play around with him. I know I'm not alone in encountering issues with the joints just being locked down tight, but once you get past that, there's nothing to complain about. He looks fantastic. He comes with everything you could ever need and then some, and it's just a fun toy. So that's going to do it for this look at the NECA Toys Ultimate Gremlin. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.